Cooper with schools out for summer, but not for long. And here to talk about it, I have Lori Frerk, Wyatt Anderson, and Thurston Schuste joining me this morning. So we're having a little coffee party here. How are you guys this morning?
Great.
Good.
Awesome.
How are you?
Awesome. Thank you guys for coming in and talking about our, it's when is the first day of school for Arcadia?
We start, our return to learn would be August 27th.
Okay.
On Wednesday. So just less than a week away.
Wow. It's right around the corner. It's going to be here in no time. So kids, start going to sleep a little earlier so you guys don't have to deal with a bunch of grumpy kids.
Well, we have some open houses coming, tonight.
Yeah.
Open houses and that for parents and so forth to meet the teachers and get their kids to the schools.
Okay.
That transition from 4th grade to 5th grade for middle school, and then the transition from 8th to the 9th grade. So we have those going.
Yep. So those are going on tonight. You got pre-registration too? Is all?
Yeah, pre-registration is already on our website, and so our parents have been doing that and pre-registering. Those that haven't done it already, they're getting phone calls from our administrative assistants to take care of those pieces.
Good deal. So, and you brought 2 victims with you, Wyatt and Thurston.
Yeah, they got voluntold, right?
Yeah. What are your roles at the school there?
So I'm the high school principal.
Okay.
Entering my 4th year as principal, 5th year in the district.
All right. Yeah. So I'm in the principal's office today. I'm familiar with that, so I'll be comfortable here.
Yeah, and then I'm the middle school and high school athletic director and dean of students.
Okay. Well, and speaking of athletics, we got some sports kicking off already, don't we?
Yeah, starting tomorrow, we have our first home football game at 6 p.m., not 7 p.m. So we're playing Webster, which is kind of a little bit of a drive.
Yep.
So they wanted to get a little bit of an earlier start. So hopefully most of our community should know that it's a 6 p.m. start time. So
home game.
Yep, home game, looking forward to it. And then volleyball, we have a scrimmage on Monday. And then soccer, we start on Tuesday for games. And girls' golf's already been rolling. So they had a meet at GET this last week. So
good deal. And I'm sure sports practices have been going on, for a week or a couple weeks now, I'm sure.
Yeah. Football started on the 4th of August. Golf was the next week. And then cross-country, soccer and volleyball started this week. So all of our fall sports are rolling right now, and looking forward to a good fall.
Yeah.
It's kind of important, though, too, is that we ended up making sure that our coaches and assistants and so forth are actually prepared for it. So they've got to go through WIA stuff.
Okay.
But also our nurses actually met with them, and they're all CPR certified and stuff that has to be done because you never know what's going to happen out there.
Yep. No kidding.
Yeah, I actually had a call the other day, a student that had a bee sting, and it was really impressed by how our staff handled it, the football staff, and it was just prompt, appropriate, made the calls that they need to make, and at that moment I was just really proud of how the school and handled it and how the staff handled it, and it just makes you comfortable knowing that they're in good hands down there.
Yeah, and being ready for those things is really important because you're dealing with so many different kids. You got food allergies, you got bee allergies, things like that. And when those things, you hate to see those things happen, but when they happen and you see the great response of the people who work there,
for sure,
it's a blessing to see. So.
It is.
I would say the nice thing too is that I'd say we have overall a pretty experienced coaching staff. I mean, there's a little bit of turnover. But we have a lot of coaches that have been in the school district for a little bit now. Again, we did a little coaches professional development at the start of the month too. Again, getting the ground rolling and just getting ready for the school year and doing some good learning and getting ready for the season. So
just trying to move that leadership part. So those coaches are showing their leadership and the skills that are necessary. But you think about it though too, now all of our professional staff there are certified in those pieces. Something could happen in the stands, so they're able to help and support as well.
Yeah, that's great. And speaking of having people there, and you talked about some turnover, but you had no turnover, right?
Well, we had some turnover.
You got all those places filled now, right?
Yeah, so we've had normally you have your retirements and so forth as you're going through. So we had our regular retirements. I think we had about 3 or 4 people that retired.
Okay.
We were able to replace them. We had a few people that have chosen to go elsewhere. But then we've been very fortunate about being able to hire all of our staff and be prepared and ready for the school year.
Yeah. At the high school, I can say we're at, since I've been there, the lowest number of replacements that we've had to have since the last 5 years. So, and I think It's just that it's nice when you can go back to the staff and only have a couple new teachers.
Yeah.
And you don't have to reteach everything and go through all of the policies again. And it just really gives the teachers a lot more time to work and get things ready that they know they need to do. And we just got great, great leadership team in all of the buildings. And I can speak for the high school specifically, is just the work that they do to get the year's plan, the school improvement goals ready to go, and how we're going to implement all that work together. It's really cool to see them come back and work together. It's just a phenomenal crew, and it's really exciting for building leaders, I think, when you get your people back, because it gets kind of lonely over the summer.
Yeah, I bet. A big, lonely, empty school.
We can only look at each other for so long.
At least we get along, right?
Yeah,
That's a big part of it. Yeah. But that creates a bigger culture, and that actually it can be seen then through with the kids. The kids will see that camaraderie and that support for one another, and teachers collaborating with one another, paraprofessionals collaborating with teachers. You have your food service that are doing the same thing, your custodial crew, and then like we talked about before is the bus drivers. Everybody's working together to make sure that we do our best for every kid that walks through our doors.
Yeah, exactly. And you guys are doing a good job there. I know it's not an easy job. Any of your jobs is not an easy job. And so people should remember that sometimes, I think.
Well,
We chose it.
We did choose it.
You chose the abuse, right?
And I was just talking to a colleague of mine from a number of years ago on the phone last night, and I said, I just really enjoy what I'm doing. And he goes, well, that's great to hear, because not everybody, gets to love their job. So it sure makes going to work a lot easier.
Yeah.
The nice part about it is really after the fact. A lot of times you'll see them 5 or 10 years after the fact, after they graduate. And that's really when you get that feedback where you would hope to get it when they were there in school, but that bigger feedback that they're being successful and that they're being able to have their own family and move forward in their careers and so forth.
Yeah, well, that's got to be the one great thing about what you do. The biggest reward is seeing those kids a few years down the road, see them in their careers and their families and things like that. I know for my teachers, it was a relief after 5 years down the road, because I was kind of the troublemaker in high school. They're like, all right, you're not in jail and or dead, so you made it. So.
Yeah, sometimes it's funny about troublemakers. Sometimes it's just the way you're built in your mind and stuff. You want to be more active, and so you're not always as active in the classroom, but those classrooms are what is necessary. But you're also looking at how do you extend to some of those other courses, those elective courses. How can you build on that, especially in high school? We're looking to do that. Elementary, that's a packed house down there from pre-K all the way through 4. There's about 500 kids in that building, and very active overall, but it's nice going in there. They weren't used to superintendent going in there before, and now I'm going in there, but now they see me, and it's funny is that the kids actually give me a hug during the hallways and stuff, because they're used to that for me being in their classrooms and different things, so that's nice.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
So you don't see that much in the high school, though?
No, you don't get a whole bunch of hugs in high school.
I bet not.
No. Sometimes you do, because it does. Once they get closer to graduation, it's interesting is most kids want to get out of school.
Yeah.
But when they become seniors, some of those kids become nervous because they don't know what's beyond.
Yeah.
And they know it's a safe place for them.
Yeah. Well, and being a senior in high school, I mean, like you said, it's like it is a very uncertain time for people. And your whole high school career, you're like, oh, I just can't wait to get out of here, until you start thinking, all right, all these people I see every day, I'm not going to see anymore. I got to think about a job, and all these things, and it gets to be tough on them. So, sometimes, just check in with your seniors, I guess.
Well, I can check in with one every day, so I'm living it right now. I've got a senior in the building this year, and it's different than junior year even, and it's getting real, right? And they're, planning ahead and thinking about what's next, and it's she said, I don't know how many times I have to answer the question, what am I going to do after school? I said, she said, do I have to know the answer to that right now? I said, you don't have to know the answer to that right now, but having a vague idea is probably good.
Well, then you look at the other end. Now you got the parent bringing in the kindergartner. you know, and giving that kid up to the school for that day.
Oh yeah, that's
So that's the heartache on those parents, but
Yep.
it's a thrill when they see how successful those kids are
Yep.
as they move through the buildings and go through year after year. So kids are growing, and they're doing a fabulous job in Arcadia. I mean, all of our curriculum and so forth are all connected, and we're finding great strides, and we're finding pieces and moving forward, and that's what we're here for, and for our community to celebrate those kids.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, those kids, when you first drop them off, I remember dropping my kids off to school, and I'm like, oh, I'm tough. I was crying like a baby, and they're just running. Yay! It's fun time.
It's hard enough just dropping off my 2-year-old at the child care.
Yeah.
Right. Well, then that's the other one. Then you're going to bring them to college, and then you got to hold on and not cry in front of them, right?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
but that's what you brought. You brought them into the world, and you hope that they become independent, and that's all you strive for.
Yeah, and like you guys being in the school, you're part of that whole raising of the children too. So it's got to be bittersweet sometimes when those kids, either when they come in the door, you get these relationships, they move on to high school, or when they're moving on to college or whatever. You know, it's got to be bittersweet too for you guys.
Yeah, certainly. It's I can think of students every year, and that you work so hard with some of them, especially, right, and built really good relationships. And it was, you knew the staff through and through, as work to get them all through. And then, they're all a little bit different. They all have different needs. And when you see the smiles on their faces and their families, when some of these kids might be first generation graduates, and you realize how big of an accomplishment it was. It can really get at you and tear you up a little bit.
Yep. Yeah. You I've had teachers like that in my life that are still in my life, that they really help build a foundation. And some of those teachers, sometimes you find that troubled kid, and you find his interests, and you work them in that direction. And you guys are doing a good job of that too, where you figure out, you weave through. Every kid's a little bit different, and people are starting to figure that out, that it's not a cookie cutter anymore.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting, is really your school becomes the heartbeat of the community. Without all those staff members, and look at it, the heartbeat becomes the athletics, the musicals, the concerts, different things like that. That becomes that heartbeat.
Yep.
How do we make that happen even more? But know that all the staff are here for the betterment of every child that walks through the door.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought yesterday I was kind of walking through the building and checking in on teachers, seeing how they're doing, and in a handful of classes, they all had students were there. And I was like, you guys don't have to be back here until next week, right? Well, they've all come in to help their teachers get ready.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And I was like, I don't know that this happens in every school. Right?
Yeah.
And maybe it is more common than I think. But I said, it's pretty cool when you see kids volunteering their time the week before school starts to come and get things ready in the teacher's classroom and do little tasks and things like that. So, and tomorrow night, or tonight, I should say, at our open house, some of those kids are going to be, they're going to have tables and booths set up to show what they're doing in their different clubs and extracurriculars. So to kind of try to promote that with our freshmen and other kids in the school. And we've got our A Club and our student council and our Wolfpack group that are going to be helping with the freshman orientation to welcome them in the building and get the parents kind of acclimated and let them know that this is a good place for the kids to answer some questions for them. But it's really cool to see the kids be able to lead a lot of that, and help out, and rather than just kind of sit by and wait for day one to start and dread that. And it's cool to see them with some excitement and ready to come back.
Yeah, that's so great.
Yeah, you find more success with kids if they get involved. And it's not that they have to be all athletic, because there's a lot of other areas that they can be involved in. So there's the fine arts and different things for that process. But always get involved. Don't just sit on the sideline. Get involved, because you'll regret those 4 years will go very quickly.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
Yeah, even in our code meetings, that's always a big push when we talk with the kids, even though they're there for one sport. It's like, the more that you're involved in the school, the studies show that the more you get connected, that the better behaviors, the better grades, all those things, that school spirit really comes out too. So we always try to encourage as much as possible.
Yeah, well, because a lot of time, kids who get in trouble, it's because of boredom, or they're not getting. If you get them involved in enough stuff, there's no time to get in trouble.
Right.
It's usually what I say is, I'm too busy to get in trouble.
Yep. That's how I stay out of trouble.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Well, and you think of our past, like I was a 3-sport athlete. It kept me out of trouble.
Yep.
Not that my siblings they weren't even into sports. I was the only one of the 4 that was into sports. Well, that really helped me, and that projected me and propelled me to the next level.
Yep.
those are the types of things that the kids have to understand. But it doesn't always necessarily mean that child is going to be a college athlete, whatever. It just helps you propel yourself to that next level and that next career.
Yeah.
Because all of those, that leadership and that learning within those sports or with the musical or the choirs and everything else, that only helps you and kind of builds your character for the next step in stage in your life.
It's life lessons, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, we're getting close to time here, but you guys want to give me those dates of what's coming up? So you got your open house tomorrow night.
Tonight.
Open house tonight.
What time is that at?
So the middle school, high school one is 4 to 5:30.
Okay.
Freshman orientation meets in the auditorium at 4, so family and kids go there. The sophomores, juniors, and seniors will all go to their advisors' rooms first to get schedules, and then go on the rest of the way. Middle school is also tonight. Elementaries, I think, is like all day.
Okay.
So there's a little bit different. And then Return to Learn days are going to be August 27th, 28th, and 29th before Labor Day weekend.
Wow.
So.
That's next week, so be careful of the buses.
Yeah.
Because those buses will be out there with their flashing lights and so forth. Please.
Yep.
Be appropriate, make sure, because these kids, they're running all over. They don't know. Some might run across the street quicker than others, but be very careful as they're going through, as they're transitioning and getting on the bus. Some of them never been on the bus.
Yep.
And then, as part of the TVC, we got buses that travel kind of throughout the day, too. So, it's not just going to be before school and after school that we see buses. We got them traveling mid-morning and later in the afternoon and dropping off and picking up at schools. So, and that's just really cool, too, to give opportunities to kids that way to be able to take classes in different places and bring them into our building, too. But, yeah, there's going to be a lot of buses out there pretty soon.
Yeah. So slow down, watch for those signs, and if that red sign's out, or if you slow down, do not go flying around them. You're not going to save too much time. Let them pick up the kids, get there safe.
Right, because you got to remember, some of these bus drivers are going to have about 50 kids on the bus, and their eyes are trying to stay on the road, but sometimes they have to look up to make sure behavior on the bus is appropriate too. So just be aware of those things as they're moving through their first days and so forth.
Yeah. Sounds good. Well, Lori, Wyatt, and Thurston, thank you guys so much for joining me today. Any quick messages you got before we go?
We're just excited to get back.
All right.
I've been chomping at the bit for a little bit, and I had a principal that always told me, it's always fun when the teachers and kids come back because summers can be just a little bit lonely. And the building fills up with a little different energy when the teachers come back, and then when the kids get there, it's a whole nother story. And I think that's what we're all there for, is just to be able to feed off of that.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. We're going to get back into the music right after this short break.
Hey, Bill, the branch over your driveway looks like it's ready to come down. You gonna call someone and take care of it?
It's fine. It's been like that for weeks. What are the chances it'll fall?